Hello, Baraka viewer. Welcome to an episode of Awakening with Patience Charles. I'll start reading a Bible verse from the book of Proverbs chapter 3 verse 13 to 26. It's a long one, but it's worth to read. Happy is the man who finds wisdom and the man who gains understanding. For her proceeds are better than the profit of silver, and again that fine gold. She is more precious than rubies, and all the things you may desire cannot compare with her. Length of days is in her right hand. In her left hand, riches and honor. Her ways are ways of pleasantness, and all her paths are peace. She is a tree of life to those who take hold of her, and happy are all who retain her. The Lord by wisdom founded the earth, and by understanding he established the heavens. By his knowledge the depths were broken, and clouds drop down the dew. My son, let them do not part from your eyes. Keep sound wisdom and discretion, so they will be life to your soul and grace to your neck. And then you will walk safely in your way, and your foot will not stumble. When you lie down, you will not be afraid. Yes, you will lie down, and your sleep will be sweet. Do not be afraid of sudden terror, nor of trouble from the wicked when it comes. For the Lord will be your confidence, and will keep your feet from being caught. This passage that we have read, it's about who finds wisdom and the man who gains understanding. You'll sit and ask yourself, what is wisdom? Wisdom is the ability to make good decisions based on the knowledge and experiences that you go through in life. For Samson to walk in wisdom, he went through life. For example, you know of a story of two women who had babies, and one slept on the baby and passed on. And during the night, she exchanged the baby with the other woman. When the lady discovered this is not her baby, they went to the King Solomon. And King Solomon came up with a wisdom to rule out the challenge that they had, the issue that they had. And where did the wisdom that Solomon got? It was found in God. And that's why the passage says, he is the one actually wrote this passage saying, happy is the man who finds wisdom and the man who gains understanding. Because with the fact that he had wisdom, he was able to solve, and the wisdom came from God. Many a times we go through experiences in our day-to-day life, and you wonder how somebody has walked through the challenge, has passed through the challenge, and you're like, this person he's vast in knowledge, he's vast in wisdom. So, we'll ask yourself a question. How do you get wisdom? The wisdom that Solomon walked with, how did he get it? And how can you get it for yourself? 1, the book of James chapter 1 verse 5 says, if any one of you lacks wisdom, let him ask of God, who gives to you or to all liberally and without reproach. Ask God, which challenge are you going through now? And you need the wisdom of God to handle. In your marriage, the challenges you're going through, you'll not get the wisdom from people. Yes, you can. But there's a point where you need to ask God for wisdom to apply to the situation you're going through. Yes, God will use other people to come and speak to you to tackle the issues that you're going through. But if you want wisdom, that which Solomon walked with in this earth, that even he was an influence. He drew people from different nations just to come and sit down to listen to him. One, you need to ask God. Ask him, because he gives it liberally. When you are having a child that is so difficult to handle, he does not give you respect, go back to God. Ask God to give you wisdom on how to handle that issue. He gives it liberally and without reproach. The other one is through the fear of God. Job chapter 28 verse 28 says, "Behold, the fear of God, that is wisdom, and to depart from evil is understanding." For you to experience the wisdom of God, you have to fear God. To fear in the sense of understanding what God likes and what he dislikes. If you walk in the ways of evil, depart. That's wisdom direct there. Walk in the ways that the Lord loves by meditating in the word of God. How do you know that the way you walk pleases God? It's through engaging yourself and spending time with God, and to understand who God is through the word of God. The other way is through being filled with the Spirit of God, of wisdom. Exodus chapter 28 verse 3 says, "You shall speak to all the skillful whom I have filled with the spirit of wisdom, that they made Aaron's garment." Those days, in the days of Moses, God filled a certain group of people. They became skillful to a point they were able to make the garment of Aaron. For you who have started your business, God can set a spirit of wisdom in you. If only you ask, a spirit of wisdom sitting upon you to help you to build your empire, to build your business, to build your family in a pattern that God has planned for your family, for your business, for everything that he has put into your hands. The last one is through the word of God, spending time in the word of God, reading books, Bible verses. It will give you wisdom on how to live your day-to-day life. The word of God is powerful. All scriptures are given to us to correct, to direct us, to protect us, to enlighten us, to walk in the will of God, in the wisdom of God. In this passage you have read, you'll ask yourself, what kind of a person is a person who has wisdom? It has said it's a person who is kind, who is loyal, who trusts in the Lord and not in men. Putting God first in your everything, that in your day-to-day life, have you put God first? When you have challenges, who do you run to first? Is it God or your friends? Turning away from evil. Are your ways, are you walking in righteousness? For you to operate in wisdom, to listening and learning. Listening to the voice of God and learning through His scriptures, His word of God. And to walk in righteousness and doing what is right at the right time. The fact that you ask for wisdom and God gives you, you are able to walk in His ways, to walk right. In the same passage, there are benefits of wisdom. 1, long, satisfying life. When you walk in wisdom, you'll benefit in having a long, satisfying life. 2, favor with God and with people. 3, the reputation for good judgment. You'll not be hasty in making unnecessary judgment, but because God has directed you, you will give reputable good judgment. You will walk in success. You will have healthy and vitality. You will walk in riches, honor, pleasure, peace, and protection. All those are listed on the Bible verse that I've read. When you speak in wisdom, or when wisdom speaks through you, what will you discover? You'll discover the knowledge and you'll learn to discern the word of God. Wisdom also eradicates pride, arrogance, and corruption. It brings justice in an institution and justice in self. You start respecting people when you start to walk. When wisdom speaks in you, you start respecting people and fearing God. You start walking in righteousness. You end up giving good advices. Child of God, because we are all the children of God, desire to walk in the wisdom of God. The wisdom of God is profitable. It's part of the word of God, and word of God is profitable. In your place of work, desire to walk in wisdom. Never be judgmental, in a rush to tackle things. Involve God. Ask God. Because you've seen one of the scriptures says that anyone who lacks wisdom, at some point when you go through life, you might lack wisdom. And lacking, it's not bad. The challenge comes in when you don't take a step of going to ask God and you decide to tackle things in the system or in your own knowledge without God understanding or God wisdom. Desire to walk in the wisdom of God. Thank you, viewer. God bless you. And I believe through this session, you will desire to walk in the wisdom of God.